Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this PTV Logistics webinar on the road to fleet electrification. Very happy to be here today and joined by my colleague, Michael Hubschneider. Just to give an introduction to myself and Michael. So I started at PTV Logistics just coming up to a year ago. Prior to that, I had several years at another route optimization and logistics technology provider. My interest in logistics technology came from having a long background in e-commerce technology, helping people to effectively buy more when they were on a website. And I always felt that within that there was a lack of focus on the customer experience that happened after someone had clicked buy. So the process of getting that order to someone's home was an area I felt that there was a bit of a gap, and that led me into logistics technology. And now it's not just getting orders into people's homes efficiently, it's getting deliveries to stores, it's getting transfers between depots and warehouses. Everything had an opportunity for technology to make more efficient. Michael, over to you.
Hello, thanks, David. I'm happy to be here, product manager at PTV for many years, with 10 years of experience with electromobility, a lot of research projects, and in the last 3 years dedicating more and more to fleet electrification directly and products in this field. And let us start into a further introduction of PTV.
Okay, so PTV Logistics was branded in 2023. Prior to that, we've got about 40 years of knowledge in and around providing cutting-edge solutions for transport operators. We are located around the globe in over 20 locations with over 350 employees. Our head office is in Karlsruhe in Germany, which is where Michael is located, and we're backed by shareholders Bridgepoint and Porsche. Really, the main focus of what we do is to make road logistics more intelligent, efficient, and sustainable. And if we look at some of the numbers that we really associate with the business, the next slide shows that our core focus when we're working with customers, Michael, if you can just move to the next slide.
Yeah.
The core focus of the 15,000 customers that we work with, we really look to target some big numbers in terms of reducing transport costs by 20%, reducing CO2 by over 25%, and looking to really decrease the amount of processing time that we have associated with the planning and execution of road logistics. So let's get started. Fleet electrification isn't a new topic. I go to many events and speak to people often, and it comes up in conversations. But I guess, Michael, the question to you is, what makes fleet electrification so relevant at the moment?
Well, the big trends that really move our world, like sustainability and regenerative energies, have always been around. But it comes more to real life because we have things we experience and we can't get around, like regulations and like cost factors. We have to react on that. We have technical progress, and let's go a bit more into this. For example, one of the strongest regulation influences is that manufacturers have to reduce their CO2 emission by 45% in the EU and by 30% in the UK till 2030. So this is really a strong impact, and this will change how the price for electric vehicles are and the price for diesel vehicles are. For LCVs, they have to be even phased out till 2035 in EU and UK. So these are strong impacts, and there are a lot of other regulations that have an impact. In the logistics world, costs are moving a lot, and we have so many cost influences on taxes, tax credits, no taxes in some countries. The pattern of the subsidies is very local and very different from place to place, but there are still quite some subsidies. There are carbon credits that will influence our life more and more because the trading of the carbon credits. The strongest impact have the high vehicle prices on us directly because we have to pay higher prices and invest in the charging stations on top. But on the other side, we will be given it back by lower operational costs, and this will get stronger and stronger effect in the future. We have lower maintenance circles and costs. At the moment, we are a bit hindered for the long hauls by the high public charging prices. We hope that this will change. But on the other side, we have, especially in Germany, Austria, and Swiss, a lot of influence on the toll costs. We are very happy that we don't have to pay toll costs probably until 2031. So this is really cool. And you have no choice if you have to access a zero emission zone anyway. On the know-how area, of course, you have to build up know-how, but on the other side, you have better chances to get drivers. Your drivers are happy, and you have access to additional tenders, sustainable tenders, more and more customers making it part of their offers. You have to adapt the logistics operations, and the logistics operations is what we want to care in this session a bit more deeply. If it comes to technology, it's great that the battery prices have fallen a lot, and they will continue to fall. There are new technologies, and that the public charging station coverage has improved a lot. And this is really improving on a strong pace, and there is strategy behind it. In the EU, in the UK, to fill up especially the transport corridors with charging possibilities, and there is a lot on the way also from private companies like Milens, MAN, Daimler Truck, and etc. There are a lot of players in that field.
Okay, Michael. So it's changing and things are becoming, I guess, easier and more understood in the world of fleet electrification. But can we talk a bit about what the urgency is to act now and what's making that more relevant too?
Yeah, if you want to act, I think most important is to have a base, and this base is the chance on a positive TCO development. This is really good that this seems now the case with the changing environment. So let's find out how to do that. It is urgent because not all is ready right now. If you have to expand your grid, you will take time. You will have to check the opportunities. This is the claiming game. Who comes first to get the best grid access? Vehicles are not available. Maybe you have to wait a half a year or a year for them. So it's good to plan and to be ahead. Also, if you think on regulations like CSRD, it can come sooner than you think that you have to help other companies to fulfill their CSRD compliance, and that regulations has an effect on you. And also you will need time for some learning curve. And who's first can have a strategic chance to have advantages. If you wait until you have problems and the others are more advanced, that's not as good. So it's good to be the first and take the lead and plan how you want to act in the future. What I like a lot is to simplify the game a bit to manufacturers and vehicles, to charging infrastructure, and to logistics. So when it comes to vehicles, the key challenges are that they are more expensive than other conventional vehicles. The question is, which vehicles should you take? There are so many new players. which battery size should you take, which charging infrastructure concept to implement. Should you go short term, long term? At the moment, public charging is expensive. You need some knowledge, you need some more grid access, and you need to know what will you do, how will you operate your fleet logistics-wise. How typically companies react is that they buy some vehicles to test it out with trusted partners, that they cautiously invest in mobile chargers. Often they use depot charging only to be on the more cautious side. They typically build up the knowledge on the job and try to expand grid access. It's a relative no-brainer to get photovoltaic if possible, and then you may have to buffer it with batteries. And also they start with simple routes, with a simple system, get experiences first. But the time that you have to go in this approach into the market is somewhat limited because, well, in this experimental phase, maybe it has not to be as economical, but you soon will have to wish that it's getting more and more economical.
Thanks, Michael. So we've talked about the relevancy and the need for urgency. So if you're actually in the position of wanting to go about looking at electrifying the fleet, there are no shortage of kind of real world problems associated to it. So could we talk around what we do in terms of helping customers overcome and some of those questions and help with those early decisions around electrification of fleets?
Yes, of course, we are there to answer at least some of these questions. We prepared some use cases to show you practically how this could be solved. But before we do this, let's introduce the EV truck route planner. That is a tool that we have built to help you with some of these challenges. And we want to have a deep dive into this product in this session. This product builds on a lot of calculations. It tries to simplify the life for you in encapsulating away all the complex calculations and make it easy for you to plan. And we want to show it in a minute. But let's have some insights how these calculations are done. So these are mostly range calculations. And for range, you have to know from each of these vehicles that are part of the product, and there are over 400 vehicles in this product, you have to know how they are conducting on the road. So a lot of parameters influence that. Typical suspects are air resistance, rolling resistance, and so on. We also care for charging. How long will you charge and how are your charging curves? How much energy will you consume and how much energy will you need to refill? Battery is influencing the game. There are different technologies out there. You cannot use all the battery. Temperature is influencing it. There is aging. The driver influences the consumption a lot with this. We predict how he is driving on certain road types, how his desire is for cooling or heating. We are experts as PTV for routes. So of course, all things that influence routes are taken into account, like traffic, road types, changes in elevation, and also real-time. There are real-time influences, especially the weather. The PTV EV truck route planner comes with that vehicle database. It provides routing, it provides charging simulation. You can calculate scenarios of your future plans with it. And it's a tool where you can also plan your complete fleet with one click. Yeah? And we will show this in this demo. So there is a prepared demo, and let's start into some questions.
Okay, so I guess one of the first questions is looking at what type of vehicle or what's the right vehicle potentially to use on a particular route or particular operation. So could you talk through some of that the technology we have there, Michael?
Yeah, let's see what we have prepared vehicle in the vehicle side, so you can change vehicles there. If you not yet know which exact vehicle you want to use, you can use some reference vehicles there and some variants of that, but you can also look up some vehicles like let's take, for example, this vehicle, and you will discover in our database that there are quite some vehicles you even not heard the name of. So there are a lot of new vehicles also out there. You have some information on the vehicles that give you an orientation. And you can use also different battery variants of many vehicles. So this is quite relevant, but because of course they have a different range and they are used for different use cases.
Okay, thank you. And then looking specifically at some of the key bits around consumption and range of vehicles, can you talk through how the route planner helps with that?
Yeah, we tried to make it quite simple, because what you want to do is you want to map your own routes into the planner with specific vehicles. So let's start, for example, in Amsterdam. Let's go to Osnabrück. You can change the payloads at every stop. You can go to, let's take maybe Eindhoven, unload something there and unload the rest back in Amsterdam. And you can see he has already taken the current weather situation in these places and taken it here, wind situation, wind speed, wind directions. And we can now calculate a route. Well, this route, it seems, is not doable. Well, but these are 635 kilometers, so this is no real surprise. But you can calculate at which stop you have which SOC predicted. There are the payloads, the typical KPIs, how much meters up and down on your route, the costs, and also the consumption. So then you can, in this way, you can easily construct your routes and see what happens on the road.
And then how do you simulate the situations where you need to factor in charging and optimize your charging locations? Can you talk through that?
Yeah, well, in this situation, for example, I would not be very happy not to arrive at my destination. And maybe I would discover that in my depot in Osnabrück, I have some charging capabilities, and I can use there a charger of specified speed. And let's see if that works out. Yeah, well, it works out. We wanted to have 20% at the end, and the system arranged me and optimize and charging. We charged there in Osnabrück from 57% to 84%, and we will take 49 minutes for that. The system is also capable to use several chargers of different speeds, calculate them in, and calculate the best location where to charge. In this case, he takes this charger to define where is the best charging possibility for you to charge, depending also on charging curves.
Okay, and that's all well and good, but then as we mentioned earlier, there are external factors that will impact the battery usage or the battery consumption. So can you talk through how we enable people to factor those in?
Yes, the playing scenarios is really important. So what you can do is you can map down different scenarios by changing the parameters of the system. Maybe I would like to assume that a battery has only 90% when you start onto the tour. Maybe you would assume that the weather is really unfavorable and with -10 degrees. You can give it also a date of a historical weather you can use. You can specify that your vehicle is already 2 years old and has done 200,000 kilometers. Or you could specify exactly the costs you have for different things. Like if you have photovoltaic on your roof, for example, maybe your energy cost is lower, and then you can specify this. And these scenarios can be run. In this case, this will lead to, as this is more unfavorable, to more charging. And now, for example, we need both charging stations, and we need to charge quite more. And you see there also the specified times and the specified energy to do it.
Great. And if you've got a situation where obviously people have multiple routes, can you talk through how you can manage those and get the relevant KPIs to ensure you're doing things in the most efficient way?
Yes, indeed, David. You want, of course, to map your whole fleet into a system like that. You can import multiple routes in dropping Excel files in there. You could calculate all the routes with one click, and you see immediately how your SOC is behaving at the end of this route. So this all looks good. Maybe you may even decide to switch to a vehicle to different battery size to see if it's working, calculate it through. Even we can take one, get one lower. And this is all easy now. This vehicle seems to have some problems. So this is not as a favorable situation. But what you can do is you can drop your own Excel files in with your situations. You can do that with up to 300 routes in one drop and calculate them through. And then you can also export all the routes, and then the result will be an Excel file again. So you could have a look on this. For example, this is an Excel file like this. That then means one stop per line, and you have all the parameters and all the results. You have seen the results panel in there, have an overview for your routes and the totals. So you can use this Excel file to import and export and change it. Information is not stored in our place. The information is all on your side. You drop it in, you take it out. So that's the system how we deal with a complete route set, and to provide you with the KPIs you need for data-driven decisions if this or this scenario is a good one.
Great. And I guess how do you use the technology and use the routing solution to decide which are the best routes for a particular vehicle? Can you talk through some of those, how we help those decisions?
Yes, indeed. It can help you, especially it's a really good possibility. Let me first delete my routes here and drop some other routes in where I can show this more easily. So this is a German example, and this is quite relevant because we have tolls in Germany or Swiss or Austria. Let's go back to that vehicle. So, and these are all doable. Just look for an interesting scenario. So this is a scenario where we want to base on. So we are now dispatchers and have to decide which two vehicles should go for which routes. So what would we take? We would take a route where we have a good feeling that this route will arrive with enough battery. Let's take even this one. And we have not so much trust in this one because it's arriving with minus. So we don't want to take this. We want to take maybe this one or maybe this one. And a good differentiator are the toll kilometers. So we want to replace routes that have quite a lot of toll kilometers by electric vehicles because we have no toll. So we have the information on how many toll kilometers are on that route in the system, and we can take that also as one of the parameters to decide. Another parameter may be the cost per kilometer we typically have on that route, and that helps me to decide which vehicles to take. A doable, a feasible road, and one with low with a lot of toll kilometers.
Okay, and then a question around how do you get an understanding of how much electricity you're going to need for a set of routes? Say for tomorrow, you need to let your charging partner know what your consumption is going to be. Can you talk through how you can help with that?
Yeah, that's a very important question because we all have to work together, the manufacturers, the infrastructure and charging side and the logistics. And one thing logistics can provide is the plan for the next day. Which vehicles will consume how much. This works via the Excel file exports I showed before. You just give that to your smart charging provider and he will be able to optimize your costs in a better way doing that. Yeah? Using that file, and he knows then how much which vehicle consumes how much next day.
Okay. What else in terms of future possibilities can we do in terms of optimization, potential analysis with the tool?
Yeah, let's go back to this example. What is the very important question is, well, a company may have some routes driven right now, the current situation, but we want to know how is it with a specific electric vehicle? How would the world look like if I also able to optimize? We know from studies and experience that optimization brings a lot of TCO positive effects if we can use it. And we can use it now with the electric vehicles. So we have there a nice button where we can optimize that. And then we calculate a situation range, how much the vehicle is expected to have as a range in this situation. And some other circumstances, and this is a one-click optimization that typically takes 5 minutes and provides you with a routing that is adapted on this range and this situation. And therefore you can determine how good you would feel TCO-wise also in this situation if the situation is adapted and optimized to your situation with the vehicles. So we'll stop that right now because we do not have too much time. So let's go to the next point.
Okay, so the use of public charging stations, also you mentioned that at the moment it's a bit cost prohibitive, but no doubt that it will come. So could you talk around how we factor in the use of public charging?
Yes, typically the use is not so prohibiting because we do not need too much energy from the public network. Often a short charging is sufficient. And what we can do, that is also a future possibility, is to show the charging stations on the map. So we can see where the charging stations are. We have a truck, so we do not typically show the AC stations also. We have them in. for vans, for example. And we can now use one of these stations to add to the route. Let's, for example, this is the route. Well, we get 1% at the end, and we wanted to have 20. So let's add a charger manually, like maybe find it. Let's add that one and see if that works. And it will be automatically added at the right place. And you see it's doable, and we have only 14 minutes to charge. So this is fully acceptable. But we also can do it automatically and say, I do have all my routes. Sorry. I have all of my routes, and I would like to complete all my routes with public charging opportunities in one click. And then all routes are examined. And afterwards, all routes are doable. And I have included in some routes, I had to include some charging stations like there, 4 minutes only, and it's doable. Or here, we included a charging station. Let me see there in the public network, and it's easy to. It will make the life of dispatchers that already now deal with public charging network much easier. So this was the end of that little presentation. And I also want to tell you that what you have seen right now in the demonstration is also available in APIs if you want to build it into your own application. So it's also the vehicle database, routing, charging simulation. You can know about low emission zones, where they are and how to avoid them. And also all you have seen about route optimization. It is possible to use it for yourself in your applications as well. So this is a very capable product as well. So, is it the strategy of PTV to build EV products? No, it is our strategy that the EVs are part of the normal workflow. There will be the new normal. We will get more and more EVs, and on the way we will see a lot of mixed fleets. And we are preparing for that, for mixed fleets and for EVs being a normal vehicle. We have at the moment the EV truck route planner as a specialized product. But if you see on all our other products like Map and Guide for long-haul route planning, already starting with integrating all the vehicles, PTV OptiFlow, our route optimizing tool, is already by far the best in if it comes to electric vehicles. But it can also use it in mixed fleets, where we have to do still some work is in the field of control tower and navigation. But this will be one of the next fields, especially navigation, because you want to know where the next charges are. Also, if you are on the road, if you plan it in or not plan it in because it's insecure. Some security, additional security would be really nice. Yeah. So, and this is good news because up from today, there is a free trial available with including the mass uploads and downloads for you to test. It is there for 14 days to use. And then you can try it out, what you have seen in the demonstration for yourself. It also contains the cost calculations, and you can activate it via using the link below there. So we would be happy if you would try it out and experience yourself what it can help you. And we are looking forward to that.
Great, thank you, Michael. A lot of information there. Really appreciate you talking through the detail there. As we draw to an end, we do have time for some questions. I can see we've got some questions in the chat, which I'll come to in a moment. But the key takeaways that we advise is really to think about your grid access and how that's going to influence your onboarding of any electric vehicles. Charging at the depot, that's always got to be what the focus should be on, and to use your EVs intensively to ensure you get the most value out of them. As Michael alluded to in the demo about being able to assign your EV vehicles to toll routes, lots of opportunities to reduce the costs by doing that. And equally, don't just think of replacing your EV vehicles with diesel vehicles with an EV on a simple one-to-one basis. It's not that. You need to look at the scenarios to which you're planning for and the types of routes that you have, and ties into the next point around ensuring that you look at the data and you use that data to drive the decisions that you're making. We have a lot of expertise at PTV, so we encourage you to come and talk to us. If you want to connect with Michael, connect with myself, please do. We'd welcome the opportunity to talk more around this subject. Michael, I'm not sure if you can see the questions, but I will read one out. It says, do you take charging curves of vehicles into account, including ambient conditions?
Yes, we do. We try to match the possibilities of the vehicle we know of and the abilities of the charging stations, and also we take into account charging curves to determine the best moment in time when to charge. Yeah, we do that.
Okay, and another question, is there a way for the logistics operator to express their risk appetite when designing routes? So how to deal with uncertainty in weather, traffic, etc.?
Yeah, we can calculate with traffic. The maps are aware of all the logistics needs you have, where your trucks can drive or where they may not drive, where there may are restrictions, and we are also traffic aware. So you can switch on and off traffic if you want it or not to be part of the calculations. You can switch on the low emission zones to see where they are. You can switch on toll roads if you want to see where the toll roads are. We are all aware of all this information. It's part of the solution.
Great, thank you. And next question, do you have any solutions for integrating booking charging slots at public charging stations into the planning?
Well, that is a good task for the future, but we are indeed looking into that. Of course, we want to improve all possibilities, and booking will be essential in the future because logistics operations have to be planned. But at the moment, the market is not really ready. There are not sufficient booking possibilities, but we will look into that and provide it if possible.
Okay, and final question, nice solution. How far is Optiflow already with EV? Is there also a webinar demo planned?
I don't know about the demo, but Optiflow is already ready for electro vehicles. For example, if you have the situation that your trips should be split up during the day and recharge at your depot, you can already now optimize that using Optiflow. You can plan charging stations, and we will further go into this area, especially if resource planning is important. Like charging scheduling, often you have a yard with about 4 fast chargers, up to 4 fast chargers. But if 10 vehicles are coming to occupy these 4 fast chargers during the middle of the day, that would be not a good idea. Your planning has to be able to plan also with scarce resources and take that into account. And this is an area we are still working on, but that will also come in the future. So we will be fully EV aware in Optiflow.
Okay, we've got time for a couple more. Do you offer integration with telematic systems to enable real-time route optimization based on live vehicle data and feedback? So I think that's not necessarily an EV question, but the answer to that is yes. Michael, this is one for you though. Can you optimize the route for charging costs?
Yes. This is already a future functionality that I showed, but it optimizes the charging opportunities on the road. If you fill up a route with charging stations, that optimizes on time, means time for deviations. We have to go for the charging stations and time for charging, and the cost side as well. And it will also take into account some soft parameters like is this a truck charging stations? Of course, we will prefer truck charging stations absolutely, and the normal DC stations are only fallbacks, but also maybe a charging station with one charging point is not as attractive as you have a charging station with several charging points. They should be open 24 hours, things like that. Soft factors will also play a role, but it's also cost aware. We simplify. Costs are very difficult at the moment for charging. There are so many tariffs out there, so many providers. What we doing in the solution is we simplify the game. You can give it an external charging price, and you can work with this external public charging price for your cost optimization.
Okay, we've come to the end. I'm pleased that we've kept to time, but thank you very much, Michael, again, and thank you everyone for your participation, and we look forward to further conversations and more webinars. Thank you very much,
Thanks
everyone.
a lot. Bye-bye.